Rambo is kind of a super soldier, but more than being just a man, he represents the entire fighting force. He's kind of a character that's bigger than life.
What if the most iconic action hero of the 80s almost never survived his first movie? What if behind the explosions, stunts, and chaos, real danger was lurking on every set?
It wasn't my war! You asked me, I didn't ask you! And I did what I had to do to win, but somebody wouldn't let us win!
From shattered storefronts in a small Canadian town to a cliff jump that broke Stallone's ribs and a 3-hour cut that nearly destroyed the film, First Blood was more terrifying off-screen than on. The secrets behind Rambo's first battle are shocking. Let's discover. Number 10. The town that became Rambo's battlefield. Have you ever imagined what it feels like when a Hollywood army invades a peaceful town and turns everyday life into chaos? That's exactly what happened in Hope, British Columbia, when First Blood descended in late 1981. Overnight, this quiet town was transformed into a battlefield, filled with explosions, gunfire, and a sense of danger that residents had never experienced. The crew arrived with a cinematic arsenal. Streets were blocked, traffic rerouted, and entire blocks were transformed into war zones. Mountain savings windows were shattered for a single shot. Shops along Wallace Street were splattered with fake blood, debris, and the acrid smell of smoke from staged fires. For locals, the line between fiction and reality disappeared. Many watched in horror as stunt vehicles skidded perilously close to storefronts, pyrotechnics sparked too near crowds, and actors clashed with residents over street access. Some parents warned their children to stay indoors, fearful that the chaos spilling into the streets might spill into real danger. Tensions simmered constantly. Several business owners refused to cooperate, locking their doors and forcing filmmakers to improvise entire scenes at the last minute. Rumors of near accidents spread through town like wildfire. One explosive effect reportedly went off dangerously close to extras, while a moving truck nearly tipped on a snow-covered street. Locals admitted later that they genuinely feared someone might get seriously hurt, or worse. For weeks, Hope felt less like a peaceful town and more like a war zone on the edge of disaster. Despite the fear and destruction, the chaos helped shape the movie's gritty realism. Stallone later credited the tense atmosphere of Hope for helping him get into Rambo's mindset, feeling like an outsider surrounded by hostile forces. The town itself became a silent character, its forests, streets, and buildings bearing witness to the story of a man pushed to the edge. Today, Hope fully embraces its Rambo legacy, but the memories of that stormy shoot still linger. Walking through the town, visitors see the streets where Rambo ran, the bridges he crossed, and a towering statue commemorating the legendary character. Number 9. Stallone's reluctant hero and the script that almost died. What happens when a script is so bad that the star wants to burn the film negatives? That's exactly what happened with First Blood. When Sylvester Stallone first read the script, he was horrified. The character of John Rambo was a one-dimensional killing machine, and the dialogue was filled with cliches and melodrama. Stallone, who had recently achieved success with Rocky, saw potential in the story but knew it needed a complete overhaul. He took matters into his own hands, rewriting the script to transform Rambo into a more complex and sympathetic character. One of the most significant changes was making Rambo a reluctant killer. In the original script, Rambo kills multiple people without hesitation. Stallone insisted that Rambo should only kill in self-defense and that his actions should be driven by desperation rather than bloodlust. This change added depth to the character and made him more relatable to audiences. Stallone also fought to change the film's ending. In the original script, Rambo dies in a slow-motion self-harm. Stallone felt this was a tragic but fitting conclusion to the character's journey. However, test audiences reacted negatively to the ending, and Stallone was forced to rewrite it, opting for a more ambiguous conclusion. Despite these challenges, Stallone's changes ultimately paid off. First Blood became a commercial success, grossing over $125 million worldwide and launching a franchise that would span decades. Stallone's vision for Rambo transformed the character from a mere action hero into a symbol of the struggles faced by Vietnam veterans and a critique of the American military-industrial complex. Without Stallone's intervention, First Blood might have been just another forgettable action film. Instead, it became a cultural touchstone, thanks to a star who wasn't afraid to fight for his vision. Number 8. The police station was built just to be destroyed. The police station in First Blood holds a unique record. It was the only building ever built in Hollywood just to be completely destroyed on camera. When designing the set for this pivotal scene, the production team faced a unique challenge. They needed a fully functional police station that could withstand several explosive stunts, then be destroyed in ways that would look authentic on camera. The set designers constructed walls from lightweight timber and plaster, carefully layering them to break apart convincingly while keeping the actors safe. Every detail was deliberate, from the stamped metal doors to the miniature furniture, all designed to collapse spectacularly when the pyrotechnics ignited. On the day of the shoot, the quiet town of Hope transformed into a war zone. Explosions rocked the street, smoke filled the air, and debris flew toward cameras and crew. Locals watched, frozen, as their beloved downtown became a battlefield. One miscalculated charge sent a door flying farther than expected, narrowly missing a crew member. Panic and exhilaration mingled as the sequence unfolded in real time, a testament to both Hollywood ingenuity and calculated danger. Even with careful planning, chaos reigned. Stunt coordinators had to reposition cameras dozens of times, recalibrating angles to capture the perfect destruction while keeping everyone out of harm's way. The rubble left behind after filming was so extensive that cleanup crews worked for days, sweeping plaster dust and broken wood from every corner of the street. What makes this moment shocking is the audacity behind it. A structure built purely to die on screen, capturing the raw fury of Rambo's clash with authority. For fans, it's a reminder of the lengths filmmakers went to make First Blood unforgettable. Number 7. The cliff jump that broke Stallone's ribs. Imagine you're hanging off a cliff, pursued by armed deputies, and the only way out is a death-defying leap into the unknown. That's exactly what Sylvester Stallone did in First Blood. But what you don't see on screen is the real pain he endured to make it look so effortless. In the film, Rambo's escape from the police station culminates in a daring jump from a cliff, landing in a tree to break his fall. What the audience didn't know was that Stallone insisted on performing this stunt himself, even though it was perilous. The jump was executed in 3 takes, with Stallone performing the final third of the fall. On the 3rd attempt, he landed awkwardly on a tree branch, resulting in a broken rib. The pain was so intense that, according to Stallone, his screams on screen were genuine, not acted. This wasn't the only injury Stallone sustained during filming. He also suffered bruises to his back after filming multiple takes of a scene where he was clubbed with a nightstick. Additionally, during a scene involving a gunfire squib, Stallone unknowingly placed his hand on top of it, leading to a serious hand injury. Despite these injuries, Stallone's commitment to performing his own stunts added authenticity to the film. The cliff jump scene became one of the most memorable moments in First Blood, showcasing not only Rambo's physical prowess, but also Stallone's dedication to his craft. Number 6. The Winter from Hell. Filming First Blood in British Columbia's rugged mountains was in part a logistical challenge and in part a battle against nature itself. What began as an unseasonably warm November in 1981 quickly descended into a brutal winter that halted production for months. By the time the snowstorm subsided, the film had endured over 5 months of delays, transforming a straightforward shoot into a grueling test of endurance for the cast and crew. The initial weeks saw the team grappling with unexpected sunshine, forcing them to adjust their plans to achieve the desired overcast ambiance. However, the real nightmare began in January 1982, when heavy snowfall blanketed the region, leading to hazardous conditions that shut down production for over 2 months. The relentless snowstorms not only delayed filming, but also caused significant damage to equipment and sets. Cameras and lighting rigs were buried under several feet of snow, and some set pieces were destroyed beyond repair. The cold temperatures led to frostbite and hypothermia among the crew, testing their resilience and commitment to the project. Despite these challenges, the team pressed on, adapting to the changing conditions. The snow-covered landscape added a layer of isolation and danger, amplifying the tension in the story. What was initially a setback became a defining feature of the film's aesthetic. By the time filming concluded in April 1982, First Blood had not only overcome the wrath of nature, but had also transformed it into a cinematic triumph. The snowstorms that once threatened to derail the project became an integral part of its identity, adding authenticity to Rambo's struggle for survival. Number 5. The 3-hour cut that made Stallone sick. Imagine sitting through a 3.5-hour movie about yourself, only to feel physically ill from the experience. That's what happened to Sylvester Stallone after viewing the initial rough cut of First Blood. The film, which was based on David Morrell's novel, had been transformed into a bloated, dialogue-heavy mess that left Stallone and his agents so disgusted they nearly vomited in an alley. The original cut was a far cry from the taut, action-packed thriller that audiences would eventually see. It was over 3 hours long, filled with excessive dialogue, and lacked the intensity that Stallone envisioned for the character of John Rambo. One infamous scene featured Rambo shooting an owl and then delivering a line like, "Take that, you mouse-munching mother." Convinced that the film was a career killer, Stallone took drastic measures. He approached the producers with a bold plan, cut out all of Rambo's dialogue, and let other characters reveal his story through their reactions. This decision transformed the film, turning Rambo into a mysterious, silent protagonist whose actions spoke louder than words. The result was a lean, 93-minute movie that focused on Rambo's struggle for survival and his internal battle with his past. Stallone's gamble paid off. First Blood became a massive success, grossing over $100 million worldwide against a modest $15 million budget. The film's success not only revived Stallone's career, but also launched one of the most iconic action franchises in cinema history. Today, the original 3-hour cut is considered a lost relic, with no known copies in existence. While some fans have expressed interest in seeing the unedited version, it's unlikely that Stallone's original vision will ever be fully realized. What remains is evidence to the power of editing and the importance of a director's vision in shaping a film's success. Number 4. Rambo was supposed to die. What if John Rambo had never survived First Blood? Imagine the iconic franchise we know today, gone before it even began. The shocking truth is that Rambo was originally scripted to die, and the film we love almost ended in tragedy. The original novel by David Morrell concluded with Rambo meeting his end in a final confrontation with Sheriff Teasle. When the first screenplay was adapted, it stayed true to this dark finale. Early shooting even included a scene where Rambo convinces Colonel Troutman to shoot him, a haunting moment that captured the character as a broken, hopeless veteran. According to cast and crew accounts, Filming that sequence was emotionally draining, as the weight of Rambo's despair could be felt on set. Sylvester Stallone, however, refused to let his character die. He argued that ending Rambo's story in self-harm would rob the character of any chance for redemption and prevent him from becoming a symbol for the struggles faced by real-life Vietnam veterans. Stallone believed the character could go beyond the screen, raising awareness about how society neglected those returning from war. The studio was divided, but after test audiences reacted poorly to the self-harm ending, Stallone's instincts prevailed. The change was seismic. Not only did it preserve Rambo's life, but it also paved the way for First Blood Part 2, Rambo 3, and the modern reboots. Richard Crenna, who played Colonel Troutman, later said that filming the original ending was heartbreaking, showing just how broken and hopeless Rambo really was. Yet Stallone's gut feeling reshaped the story, giving Rambo a sliver of hope and a voice that resonated. Number 3. Real soldiers, real trauma. Before Richard Crenna stepped into the role of Colonel Troutman, Hollywood royalty Kirk Douglas was cast to play the part. What followed behind the scenes was pure chaos, a drama that nearly derailed First Blood entirely. Douglas arrived on set with a clear vision. He wanted the film to stick to the novel's dark ending, where Rambo dies. He clashed with Sylvester Stallone and director Ted Kotcheff over every detail, insisting that Troutman's role be expanded and that more lines be added. The tension on set escalated quickly, with Stallone refusing to bend. He argued that Rambo's story needed to remain focused and intimate, not overshadowed by Troutman's presence. The conflict reached a breaking point just days before shooting Troutman's scenes. Douglas threatened to quit if the ending was changed, and then he walked. Producers were left scrambling, desperately searching for a last-minute replacement. Richard Crenna, relatively unknown at the time, was brought in with only 24 hours to learn his lines and adjust to the intense production pace. Crenna's arrival changed the film in ways no one could have predicted. His calm, authoritative presence balanced Stallone's intensity, giving Rambo a mentor figure without stealing the spotlight. The chemistry between Stallone and Crenna became one of the anchors of the story, grounding the narrative and adding emotional weight to the veteran versus society conflict. Fans today cannot imagine anyone else as Troutman. Ironically, Douglas later admitted he regretted walking away, underestimating how significant the film would become. What seemed like a potential disaster turned into a stroke of luck, the perfect casting choice emerging from chaos. Turns out, sometimes losing a legend gives room for the perfect fit. Without Crenna stepping in at the last minute, First Blood might have been weighed down by ego, overlong dialogue, and a different, bleaker Troutman-Rambo dynamic. Instead, the film struck the precise balance between tension, empathy, and action, a combination that would make it an enduring icon in cinematic history. Number 2. A prop knife that became a legend. What if a single prop could define a character and ignite an entire cultural obsession? John Rambo's survival knife wasn't just a tool for the film. It became a symbol of authenticity, danger, and Stallone's relentless dedication to realism. The knife was custom-made by master bladesmith Jimmy Lyle, designed specifically to reflect Rambo's military training and survival skills. It wasn't flashy or decorative, it was practical, heavy, and deadly, with a 14-inch blade, a sawback spine, and a hollow handle containing survival essentials like fishing hooks, matches, and a compass. Every detail was meticulously planned to make it believable as a real soldier's weapon, not just a Hollywood prop. Stallone insisted on using the knife for real stunts whenever possible. During the film, he carved through branches, cut ropes, and even stitched his own arm, all under icy, treacherous conditions. The stunt team was constantly on high alert, fearing a serious accident. On one occasion, Stallone nearly lost a fingertip during a close-up fight scene, but refused to pull back. The impact extended beyond the film. Audiences were fascinated. Replica knives flooded the market, and a cult-like obsession with survival blades was born. Some stores could not keep up with demand, selling everything from toy versions for children to high-end, functional knives. The blade's popularity influenced knife design for decades, with survival experts still citing it as a reference for practicality and durability. Stallone's insistence on authenticity transformed the knife into an icon, a physical extension of the character that continues to inspire fans 40-plus years later. Number 1. The scene that changed movie history. During the shoot of the climactic confrontation between Rambo and Sheriff Teasel, Sylvester Stallone demanded absolute authenticity. The scene was set in the freezing Canadian wilderness, with ice-covered rivers, muddy trails, and bitter winds that cut through the crew's clothing. Stallone insisted on performing nearly every stunt himself, crawling through mud, slipping across wet rocks, and enduring temperatures that made teeth chatter. One misstep could have resulted in serious injury, but Stallone's commitment pushed everyone to their limit. The tension on set was electric. Director Ted Kotcheff recalled that even the cameras seemed to capture the raw fear and desperation of the moment. Rambo's exhausted, haunted expressions weren't just acting. They were the result of hours of grueling physical and emotional endurance. The stunt coordinators were on constant alert, knowing that one wrong move could have derailed the scene entirely. But what truly shocked everyone was how this sequence would shape Hollywood's storytelling. It wasn't explosions or bullets that captivated audiences. It was the subtle intensity, the silent suffering of a man pushed to the edge. This scene proved that action heroes could be vulnerable, human, and morally complex. It set a new standard for realism in the genre, inspiring decades of films to balance spectacle with character depth. Today, fans and filmmakers alike revere this moment. That one climactic scene transformed First Blood from an action flick into a cultural landmark, proving that sometimes a single, meticulously crafted moment can change the course of movie history forever. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click the next video for more exciting content.